Early Morning Mob, Capo. This show is amazing. I've checked it out a couple of times, and I would recommend all our friends and fans do give them a listen. They do such great work, and I'm really proud and again grateful to be able to be a part of the show.
And I start by this, and I mean it. The beautiful people already know who I am. Introduce yourself to the people.
All right. Hey, everybody. I'm Foggy Otis. I play the ukulele. And I'm here at the Cellar on Treadwell tonight, and I'm doing a set at 6:30. And some of you might be here. Who knows? But
Come on down.
come on down.
What is that your government name, or is that a name that you created?
I grew up in Jersey. Let's just leave it at that.
I like it.
Yeah, we'll leave.
I like it.
We'll leave it there.
My adopted brother lives in Jersey now too. It's a nice little state.
Yeah, we'll just leave it there.
We can. So how does one get into playing the ukulele?
Interesting story. 2008. I was a young man of 42, and I was in congestive heart failure, and I had a quadruple bypass, and they took an artery right there, right here where that scar is. And I used to play guitar since childhood.
Really?
And since 2008, my left wrist and thumb has been numb.
Okay.
As is, like, if you have open heart surgery, the big giant zipper they put down your chest.
Yeah.
Numb. You know, where they took an artery, my knee, numb. You know, so I tried playing guitar for a couple of years, and it just, it hurt. So I stopped playing, and I had a couple little crappy ukuleles around the house. So I started just making some sound, and I was like, I could kind of do this. And over the span of about 10 years, a little more than that, I turned it into something where I can rock with a ukulele. I have solid body electric ones. I have tonight I'm playing an acoustic set.
What are the differences in playing between the guitar and the ukulele?
I'll tell you, the ukulele, first off, being such a smaller instrument, the neck is smaller, but instead of 6 strings, there's 4, and 6 strings are pretty close together, and I lost some of my dexterity. With the ukulele, those 4 strings are actually further apart than the guitar strings would be. Mm-hmm. So it was just easier, plus they're nylon. And then over the last decade, I've done a few things to compensate with the instrument to make it a little easier. I looked at old videos on my YouTube channel, Foggy Otis. If anybody would like to subscribe, I'm nearing about 800 subscribers right now. Nice. So please subscribe if you're listening or watching this. But on my old videos, I was looking through it stuff, and I would see that while I was on stage, and I remember doing this, I used to have to tap my leg with my hand to kind of wake it up, Yep. But since then, I started tuning the instrument down a half step, which gave you a little more slack in the strings, and that helped me greatly. That helped me, plus the instrument rocks a little more now. I can bend, I can get sustain and
vibrato. Does that drop you a semitone, or?
Drops me a full half step when I'm playing electric uke. Actually, tonight, with the acoustic ukulele, see, I don't like how they sound. Like, I didn't come to the ukulele because I love the sound of Hawaiian music. I came because I needed a tool to play rock and roll.
Yes.
So, for me, the tuning down of the uke gives it that bit of bite. But now when you plug in an acoustic ukulele, with a pickup like an acoustic guitar, and the reason I specify, most people just say you plug in a ukulele, but I do play, like I've said, solid body electrics. And they look like little Les Pauls. They're really cool.
Yeah, that's cool.
So, but when you plug a ukulele in, from my ears, man, the pitch up there is a little grating because I want to make use of the whole neck. And you start going up high, and it starts sounding plinky like a music box.
Yeah.
So with the acoustic uke, I drop it a full step. So it would be G, C, E, A. So I'm a full step down right across the board. And when I play with my band, I have a trio. I just have to, chart everything out in the actual key. If you're a ukulele player and you're looking at me, you're like, you're thrown off, but they don't know. I just give the bass player charts in the actual key. Sure. And I worry about doing what I do.
So you play like a guitar?
Yes and no. I took it so seriously, and I studied every friggin' ukulele player I could find for about the first 5 years. And I learned it traditionally. And that would be, they have what's called a re-entrant, fourth string. On a guitar, as you go 1, 2, 3, 4, the strings get thicker.
Yes.
Ukulele gets thicker 1, 2, and 3, but when it gets to 4, it goes up an octave. That's what gives it that Hawaiian, that distinct sound. But I also found pro ukulele players that played with a low G string. So a few years back, I put a low G string on there, and so now I can actually pick out some bass patterns, and I can fill it out for especially doing solo acoustic ukulele stuff, And then I was living upstate New York before I only got to Connecticut 2 years ago, and I've just been coming out of my shell, And but upstate I was playing a lot, and I was teaching ukulele at a community college up in Hudson, New York. Cool. Now I'm in Orange, Connecticut. I teach privately if anybody's interested. And I also, since I moved to Connecticut, Ukulele Magazine hired me to write for them.
Awesome.
So I do the last 2 issues. I did a Bob Dylan lesson, and the current issue, it's in Barnes & Noble, Ukulele Magazine. And the current one is a Janis Joplin lesson, and I come from it like a rock guy. I listen to the record, and that's where we start, And so I got all of that going on. And my YouTube, every Tuesday I put up a new tutorial video. I've got over 400 videos. I've got over 400 videos up there, and please subscribe. And thank you for having me on the show, and thank you for having me up here for this.
Yeah. No, we like to give artists a platform, as me and Cap are starting to step away from the music a little bit, creating it anyway ourselves. We're looking to fill that void with other artists in their artistry. And when you said we had a ukulele player, I knew there was going to be like a little twist to it, because ain't nobody just going to go out there and play a ukulele.
Yeah. And that's what's fun about what I do, because I only get to make that first impression once, and that's what I see. When I was living upstate, everybody knew the ukulele guy. Everybody knew the act. Everybody knew. I mean, it's good, but everybody knew it, and they all had good things to say about it. But now here, this is fun to come out again. Not a single person here knows me, and it's really fun, because sometimes you get that collective groan from an audience when they see a grown-ass man with a ukulele on stage. And it goes away quickly, and it's just so much fun.
Here's my naive question. Tiny Tim played a ukulele, or?
He did. He played a soprano ukulele, and honestly, for as much as people make fun of that guy, he was a genius of Tin Pan Alley music and, that Victorian era. He knew that stuff inside out. It was committed to memory. He could sing it, and, it was...
But that's instantly kind of where my mind goes when I see it. Not necessarily bad nor good.
No.
But Tiny Tim and his little
As a matter of fact, track down, it's online. God Bless Tiny Tim, his first album. It's produced by Richard Perry, who produced Nielsen and Carly Simon. He did everybody. So he did a great job with God Bless Tiny Tim. It does have Tiptoe Through the Tulips on it. Came out, I think, 1968, and it's literally like a 35-minute recording of like a weird vaudeville psychedelic trip. It's really cool. Cool. It's a really cool record,
So you've already plugged your YouTube. Do you have any other websites or social medias?
I have foggyotis.com. Foggy Otis, UKE, That's my website.
That's very important.
You can find anything you need there. You can link into the YouTube from there. On Facebook, I put a lot of videos on Facebook. Facebook really helps me with YouTube subscriptions.
I see that. I see you put a little package for you being here tonight.
I threw something together this afternoon. I just threw something together.
And that's what I don't say for Capo to suggest that, but that's what I would like for the artists to do amongst themselves.
You know what it is? I did this stuff when I lived upstate. Not everybody does this stuff.
Yep.
But I found very quickly that the people who do this stuff get noticed. And my thing is, I never want to hit anybody over the head with what I do. I figure when it gets good enough to hit a plateau that a few more people jump on the bus, then that's cool.
Yep.
Like I had a residency gig up in Catskill, New York, every other Monday for happy hour, 3 hours, 5 to 8. And the last night before the pandemic shut everything down, I walked in, and the girl who worked there said to me, hey, we had reservations for 10 ukulele players that want to sit near the music tonight.
See?
You know, so I do know what I do takes a while to get out there.
Sure.
And
every music is oversaturated now in general.
And when I moved to Catskill, New York, and I was up in Hudson, I learned how to market myself full time. I learned how to write press releases, you know, all of that neat stuff. And it's all just comes down to doing it. You do it and you see what you get responses from. I mean, upstate in the village of Catskill, it was like the Wild West. We had this centralized main street, and by the time I moved out of there, we probably had 4 rooms that had live music in a half-mile stretch in this tiny little town on the Hudson River, right? And I would book a gig, and when I first got into town, I'd book a free gig. I'd do somebody's benefit, something. I'd do something, set it up myself in a bookstore, and I'd print up a poster. And it was more like a flyer, very easy to read, like an eye chart.
Very important.
And I put them at the intersections on the poles, so when you stopped at a red light, you can read it. Artistic value meant nothing. It just meant putting the message out. And I would do that, and I put them up 3 weeks early. So now, and I was great. I didn't want anybody hassling me. So as soon as the gig was over, I took it down and put a new one up in its spot.
That's very responsible.
You know, and but I did that for years. It took about 1.5 years for that to catch on, and that was a place that had a centralized location. Like I don't think I'll ever live in a little town like that between Hudson and Catskill where that'll happen again. But it was really a cool little run for a couple of years. And as I started sharing videos and going to friends' gigs and sharing videos, and if I share something, you know, I edit. You know, if I get 20 minutes of my friend's video and there's only 30 seconds that, let's be honest, kicks ass and is clean and everybody's on and the crowd is quiet, you know, that's what I use. I don't put up a 5-minute video of noise and chatter because that's not helping your case.
First impressions, like you said.
You know, it's not helping your case. You know, so so I do all my own video production. I learned how to do it back last year in the fall. I was invited to write a lesson for Ukulele Magazine, and I was asked to do an accompanying video. So I didn't know how to do anything. I set up a quick green screen, and I used my phone for the video, and it's good.
It works.
But then I went into Photoshop, and I made background tiles. Every time a chord changes, it has to change. So a 3-minute song's got 150 different tiles, and I'm syncing them. So I've been doing it.
Yeah, I do all the videos, so I understand that.
The first video I made for the magazine took me probably 2 8-hour days.
Wow.
But now I could crank one out start to finish in 3 hours, and I've got better graphics. I make all my own chord charts and everything, and I've kept it all organized. That's how I did that one today with the little inlay. Yeah. Well, that's usually where my chord chart would be. And I knocked that thing out in it took longer for it to bounce from iMovie to my desktop. You know?
I get that rendering.
But, I think those things matter. Even if somebody doesn't see it for tonight.
Yep.
They see it and go, oh, I might have wanted to see that.
Or he puts in the work.
That gets noticed. That really does get noticed. I mean, when we lived upstate, I had a duo, the Hudson Dusters, up there, and we met at a local open mic in Club Helsinki. Club Helsinki was one of the coolest rooms I've ever been in. My wife and I drove to Hudson from New Jersey in 2014 to see Chuck Prophet. I don't know if you know who Chuck is, but San Francisco guy, really great. And we saw him in this room up there. It was like a Broadway theater, big stage, sound system, multi-levels, first-class restaurant. It was a great place. And so we moved up there a few months later, and they had an open mic, and the open mic was like a Broadway stage. On the left of the stage was an old vintage Hammond organ with a Leslie speaker, and on the right was a grand piano. And I think the story was Sandra Bernhardt was doing a cabaret show at the club, and she wanted a grand piano for her piano player. So the club just bought one, and they used it for everybody. They've had all these virtuosos in there with that. And then in 2018, I ended up doing 2 headlining shows at the club. It was great. Wow. We were on Radio Woodstock promoting it, and that taught me about how you get out to local
Yes.
radio when you have a show, and if you have the right show, they will call you back.
Yeah, yeah.
They're not calling you back when you're playing
Yep.
the pizza parlor around the corner, but when
No.
you're on a stage that Richard Thompson was
Yes.
on last week, and next week Mavis Staples is coming, you know.
It's been a wonder, Mr. Foggy Otis. I'm
Thank
not
you.
kicking you straight.
No, I have to go play.
You have to go play like right now.
I have to
and
go play, like,
Frank
right
is
now.
probably texting me that we're in trouble.
I have to go play right now.
But he's actually like.
I get 20 minutes. Please.
Look, I'm gonna
I don't
pan
wanna
you
cut
up.
it short.
No.
Hey.
Foggy Otis,
Thank you
you've
so
been
much.
a musical.
This was fun.
A musical
We'll
educational
be in touch.
warehouse. We will, brother.
We'll be in touch.
Thank you.
Thank you.